In this video, we learn how to define and work with Python sets and dictionaries. By the end of this video, you will have a solid understanding of how to use these data structures in Python. You also will be able to solve an interesting coding challenge at the end of this video that covers all of the materials you learn in this video as well as the previous one, which was about lists and tuples. Let's get started. Sets are used to store a collection of items. Sets have some unique characteristics. They don't allow duplicate items and they are unordered, which means items in a set have no indexes. We use curly brackets to hold set items. Here is an example of how to define a set and add items to it. In this example, we first define a set called mySet and initialize it with the values 1, 2, and 3. We then use the add method to add the value 4 to the set. Finally, we print out the value of mySet and we get the output of 1, 2, 3, and 4. The other way to define a set is by set constructor. In this example, I pass a list to the set constructor and you see that the duplicate value 3 is removed in the set. We can iterate over set items. Given that I have a set of languages, I want to iterate and print each language. Note that the order of the items is not preserved in the set. We also can check if an item is available in a set by in operator. We may remove an item from a set by calling remove function. To union two sets, there is a union function, which union two sets in a new set. And to get the intersection of two sets, we can call intersection function. Sets are useful when you want to store unique items and perform set operations like union, intersection, and difference. Dictionaries are a powerful data structure that allows you to store items in a key value format. You can define a dictionary by putting a comma-separated sequence of key-value pairs inside curly braces. Here is an example of how to define a dictionary and add items to it. In this example, we first define a dictionary called myDict and initialize it with key-value pairs A1, B2, and C3. We then use the index operator to add a new key-value pair D and 4 to the dictionary. Finally, we print out the value of myDict and get the output. We can access dictionary items by their key. Duplicates are not allowed in dictionary keys. Dictionaries are changeable, meaning that we can change, add, or remove items after the dictionary has been created. Here we change the value of the item with key B. Dictionary keys can be of primitive types such as integer, float, string. We also can have tuples as keys in dictionaries, but a list cannot be set as a key in dictionaries. Here is an example that we have tuples as keys in the dictionary and how we access the items. We can get all keys and values separately. For that, we use keys method and values method. The items method will return each item in a dictionary in the form of tuples in a list. We can iterate over the dictionary in two ways. In the first one, we iterate over the keys in the dictionary, and in the second one, we iterate over key and value in the dictionary by items method. Some common functions in dictionaries include copy that returns a copy of the dictionary, pop that removes the element with the specified key, get that returns the value of the specified key, and it is like using index operator. Set default that returns the value of the specified key. If the key does not exist, insert the key with the specified value. Update function that updates the dictionary with the specified key value pairs. And clear function that removes all the elements from the dictionary. Remember that dictionaries are useful when you want to store items with keys and be able to access them easily. Given the materials we learned in this tutorial about sets and dictionaries along with the previous video about lists and tuples, I want you to pause the video and spend 10 to 15 minutes to implement this coding challenge and then continue the video to check out my solution. You are given this two-dimensional list of words named lines. The assignment wants to implement 5 tasks. First, create a dictionary and store each word and its frequency in the dictionary as key value and then print the content of the dictionary. Second, find words that have the same number of characters and frequency and return them as a list. You can use list comprehension and print them. Third, in the lines list, replace was with is and print the modified lines 4. Create another dictionary whose keys are tuples consisting of the words in line items and value is the number of words in that line, and print the dictionary. And 5. Create a set and store unique words in the set and print the set. Your output should look like this one. Task 1 for word frequencies, Task 2 for special words, Task 3 to replace was with is, Task 4 to have tuples as dictionary keys, and Task 5 set of the unique words. To the solution, first I define the lines of the words. For the first task, I create an empty dictionary, then iterate over each line of the lines, and inside each line, iterate over each word. Then check if the word is in the frequency dictionary or not. If it's not, I add it to the frequency dictionary. Otherwise, I will increment the frequency of that word. For the second task, first I iterate over the keys in the frequency dictionary and check if the frequency of the word is equals to the length of that word. And here is another way of doing that by creating an empty list and appending to the list. For the third task, to replace was with is, I create a range index for all the sublists, and inside each sublist I create another index, then iterate over the words of those lists, and if any of those words equals to was, we can replace it with is. For the fourth task, we create an empty dictionary and then we iterate over the items in lines. Inside the for loop, we convert the line list to tuple and assign the length of line as the value. For the fifth task, we create an empty set, then iterate over each word in each line and add those words in the line. If there are duplicate words, the set will ignore them. So we have covered the basics of sets and dictionaries to some of their specific characteristics. You can use sets when you want to store unique items and perform set operations, and dictionaries when you want to store items with keys and access them easily. The next video is exciting as I'm going to teach you object-oriented programming and how to define and implement Python classes and objects. See you in the next video.